Alright, your next question is, what is the greatest sport of all time?
Football?
No.
Soccer.
Nope.
Tennis?
Nuh-uh.
Cheerleading?
Don't make me laugh. Paintball. I don't think it gets as much recognition as it deserves of being the only sport where you can exchange non-lethal homicide with your friends. Flynn, you may say, why don't you sign up for sports like American football or rugby? My response is, I said non-lethal. Ow! Plus, it's the closest feeling I can get to being part of a real Splatoon turf war, so it has that going for it as well. That's why ever since I was 10 I wanted to play a game of paintball, even being fully aware of the pain that is to come when you get hit, and that you always get hit. But my parents thought it would be insensitive to send a 10-year-old onto the front lines of Battlefield, even with all the precautions made in the game of paintball. So it was decided that I'd have to be a bit older before I could be in the line of a weapon that could be called a gun. I believe there was some debate of whether it was going to happen for my 13th birthday, but I'm pretty sure it got turned down since I definitely didn't remember anything doing like that for my 13th. However, for my 15th, it was finally time. I saved up some money and invited my friends to finally live the dream of pelting my friends with hard rubber balls.
What?
When I were preparing for the Day of Reckoning by creating strategies to use during the game. A popular one we made was if two people were taking cover and so was one person on the opposing team, one person could shoot the other's cover to keep them hiding behind the cover, so that another person could get up and move past them and shoot them. And I'm pretty sure we didn't use that strategy a single time. It's like learning karate versus being in a real fight. You may have a sensei and mastered every fighting style in Cobra Kai, but as soon as you get in a real fight, you drop all of that and try your best just to not get hurt. So on the Day of Reckoning, we had a false sense of security along with endless drawings I made because I'm a nerd and I will always be one no matter what happens, and I will still be a nerd and I will always take pride in that. So we get there and exchange gifts, and if the people who gave me the Lego 8080 Walker, I still have it. We learned that another group had also been booked around our time, so the people running the paintball park decided it would be better if these two different groups were to play at the same paint battle. Me and the guys were a bit skeptical about this, I guess because this was supposed to be our day of fun without awkward interactions between people that we don't know. We all said we were okay with this, but we really weren't okay with this. I don't want to be the reason why a 10-year-old kid is crying on the ground. But all worries were gone once we realised that the people joining us were other teens from our classes at school, which includes a obnoxious seal that won't learn his opinions are wrong. It was another person's birthday party, so there were two birthday boys at that party, but I'm okay with sharing the spotlight. So that was a little relief from what we were expecting, since I'd rather shoot my friends than strangers. Wait, that didn't come out right. Next, we learn how to handle paintball guns, along with get some bodysuits so that the paintballs won't break our skin, which in some cases failed, along with being informed the most important rule of paintball. If you bring a paintball gun into the safe zone, a place where you go once the game's over, for the rest of the day, you must wear a mankini. Scary, I know. I guess I should address the familiar faces that will be joining us for this all-out battle before establishing the teams. Nozza, Edward, and Steve, R_R, and Bungo, along with my brother. On Team Crusader was me, Tom, Razza, Bungo, Steve, Broth, and Jay, along with Noah, one of my cousins, Edward, Verb, Jazz, Reprinted, and Eduardo Franco on Team Nuggets. Now to explain the rules of the match. There are two ways you can play a game of paintball in this park: invasion and capture the flag. The first round was an invasion round, where the main aim was to simply push the opposition up to the back of the ground. You do this by shooting the opposition, obviously. If you shoot someone and the paintball breaks, and the person shot will have to go back one row. This gets a bit confusing during the next couple of rounds of where you should go. You also can't shoot someone who's already heading back, which I did not follow. If at any time your paintball gun runs out of paintballs, you're automatically out, since you can't keep fighting. Another way you can get the opponent to go back a trench is to come up behind them and yell surrender. Since you have them at a standstill, it's best for them to just go back a space, but if you're not careful, they do have the option to pull a fast one on you, But since to even begin this chain of events, you need to be close to each other, it's best to keep a shooting at a minimum before people start bleeding. Oh, also no dual wielding. This isn't Halo. The way that the first round was structured is that the battleground has rows and rows of barrels for you to take cover behind, and not really much else. I guess I should mention the safe zone that you're not allowed to take guns into. At the side of every ground there is a box covered in chicken mesh wire to protect the parents and watching their kids having a shootout. And if you're in any condition where you can't go on with the fight, you can just go to the safe house. So that's why there aren't any paintball guns held in there. So we get into position. I'm in the second row from the middle on the right, and before we go on with the battle, I'd like just to point out that I tried making tactics with my own team before we got to the grounds, but it didn't work. People weren't keeping up or paying attention, so we were going in with no strategy. So as I crouch behind some barrels, wondering how much a paintball hurts, I come to accept all the preparations I have done was all for nothing. And now the battle begins. Now, I would like to say that during the match, I went Doom Guy on Team Nugget and led our team to a golden victory with everyone on the Crusaders team still in. But most of the time, I was casually hiding behind cover trying to shoot someone else. At some point, Raz came to my cover, and there wasn't much room for both of us, so Team Nugget had a clear shot at one of us the whole time we were both there. He tried the cover fire strategy, but the problem was that whenever we would do it, there would be more people that weren't under fire that could easily shoot either person running or the person covering. Noah and I were expecting a much more open space and less people to worry about when we made that strategy up. But other than that, I said I did pretty well for my first time. I got a few people to fall back and I didn't get shot too many times. Well, remember that rule about when you get shot, the paintball has to break upon impact for it to count? Well, I got hit a few times, but none of them broke or were very painful. The only time I could say I got hurt was when I got shot in the foot. I wasn't even stunned, it was like, my foot kinda hurts. But despite that, our numbers were falling heavily, not due to people getting pushed up to the wall more, so people running out of ammo, because since the first round people like to go crazy with the power given to them. That was a big problem for me because I was using my ammo wisely and I was the last person standing on Team Crusader. Haha, idiots! I'm caught now with no backup on my side, battling a 5 versus 1 with barely any ammunition left in my gun that I had to check by shooting the ground, which was why my foot hurts now. Alright, Flynn, don't back down on this. It's time to show them what you can really do. Damn it. So Team Crusader wasn't doing well when it came to the first round, but we filled our ammo, drank our Gatorade, and were ready to win the next round. Team Crusader was planning to make a better strategy, but some people in Team Nugget wouldn't leave our lunch table. Please leave the Crusaders' lunch table, only true gamers allowed. Since you obviously don't tell your opposition your strategy, and the others weren't really into it, we were going into the next round with nothing again. So my hopes were high regardless, because it's more paintball, and you know paintball is the best sport of all time, and there will be vengeance behind every paintball pelted at them. So the way the next 2 rounds will be functioning is playing Capture the Flag. There are 2 flags on each side of the battlefield, one for each team to protect. While they are trying to capture the opposing team's flag and bring it to their own flag, as you'd probably expect. And like before, you can't get out by being forced to back now, you have to run out of ammo. When you grab the flag, since you have to get back to your side, the opposition can still have a chance of shooting you, and when that happens, the person who shot you gets the flag and can put it back. However, if you have the flag and think that you're about to get shot, you can always throw it to someone else on your team so they can carry on. However, I don't think this happened once during the second and third round, so I'm just gonna expose it to make the script longer. The battleground was a bit more complicated. It had standard walls that you can take cover behind at both ends, with these taller walls that have wires so you can take over behind them, but it's still visible so you can't sneak yourself through there. It's also mirrored both ways, so no advantages from what side you start with. Now remember how I said it gets a bit confusing of how far you go back because of the spacing between walls? Like, if I'm shot here, do I go back to this wall since it's one level lower, or don't I because it's not really going to cover me? And do I go a further wall that's more in line with the average spacing? Or am I just overthinking this? The last one's probably right. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, we can now start round 2. For this round, I decided to stick with the other birthday boy, hoping that it'd bring us some good luck for our team in this round. We played more defense than the first half of the round, staying near a flag, taking cover behind a wall. We were making some good shots and doing our job well, but I'd like to point out a specific shot I made. Someone was trying to run from the right side of the field to the left side, and he's like a good 15 meters away from me and on the move. But somehow, with a single shot, I perfectly got him in his left arm. It may not seem too impressive, but you gotta understand that paintball guns weren't exactly the best thing to shoot with. They would go a bit off to the side when you fire. Even the other birthday boy was like, "Did you get him?" It was a cool moment for me, making me feel a lot closer to being a Hollywood action star than I really am. Okay, so we're on the defense, but then we notice that there are less people on the attack because once again they have no comprehension of preserving stuff. So we got put around this right area, and for the remaining half of the round, Tom pretty much just stayed behind the wall of cover while I was hanging around this little maze area. But since the cover was see-through, I couldn't do much because they know exactly where I was about to shoot, and when it was safe for them to shoot me. Although something that did happen during my time there was I came out to shoot and suddenly... Did you just shoot me? You're on my own team! Also, it turns out that counts as a penalty, despite it not being the opposing team that landed a hit on me.
I said it was an accident.
Too late for apologies now. I'm gonna hurt whenever I draw this video that took too long. I kinda knew we weren't gonna win this round either because of the difference in numbers. But that didn't mean I was gonna give up or stop having a good time. This is paintball after all. Not even running back with a flag was bothering me. Wait, what?
Damn it.
Okay, so we lost 2 rounds in a row with no sign of improvement or even motivation to find a strategy to win the next and final round. The only thing that we discussed at the lunch table that was related to the next round was trying not to use as many paintballs as before. Most of the time was spent there sharing the highlights of what happened in the previous round.
Plus discussion of Gatorade flavors.
The final round will function the same way that the second round did, capture the flag again. However, it is different. It was mirrored again with the middle lane had the same see-through wire done in another little maze. In both left and right lanes were metal walls that had a square opening to peek out of. In the center of the field was an elevated platform with elevated bridges to it. I know that isn't the best description of what it could possibly be, but just look at it and tell me what to say. This caught everyone's attention, so we all took a picture on it with everyone up there. I can't show it to you because I need permission from anyone in it, and no. I thought it'd be great if I could get someone to help it and try sniping some people, but midway through the match I found it drew too much attention. And now we begin the third and final round. We split into about 3 groups, me and Steve taking the left path, meaning that we weren't planning on going to the platform much. And we made a pretty good duo, and we could probably pull through and win this thing. If it weren't for us being up against Edward. That was a problem. The thing is, Edward has somewhat military experience, so I assume he's no stranger to firearms. If he didn't, then he's a natural at anything relating to a real war zone battle. I mean, sure, I had Steve with me, and he's also got somewhat of the same kind of experience as Edward, but I don't know, we just weren't able to break through his defenses. I probably got hit the most during that round, and most of them were near my head. I remember because I had to go to the safe zone midway through the round to wash off paint that covered my goggles. So you could say we're having a rough time getting past him. We got really close this one time and somehow getting to the flag at one point. However, when that happened, reinforcements were making our impossible odds even more impossible. But you know what they say, the impossible is possible, all you gotta do is make it so. Frickin'. By that point, our goal wasn't so much getting the flag from Edward, more so keeping Edward from getting ours. We were doing a good job of doing so. I mean, he got very close sometimes, and it was a 2v1, but we were doing good with that, unlike the other groups of our team. I saw my cousin run straight to the flag on the right side of the field, so I had to make a mad dash for our flag to protect it. He had the flag in his hands and was on his way before I was able to shoot him. And I'm positive the only reason I was able to do that was because he mistook me for his own team. I know that because when I did shoot him, he called me an idiot for doing so. The only other special thing I can remember happening in that round was R_R was standing on the other side of the maze, and when I encountered him, we both shot each other at the same time. Alright, I can't keep stretching the script out. Yeah, eventually the inevitable happened and everyone was running out of ammo. And me being the only one left again. Did we not discuss this issue over Gatorade, like conserving your ammo? I was at least able to hold them off for a little bit longer until this happened again.
Drop the weapon.
So, Team Crusader wasn't doing so well when it came to our first round.
I said drop the weapon.
Okay, jeez. So we ended up winning none of the 3 rounds, and Team Nugget won all the glory and all the bragging rights. And boy did they exploit that. Okay, we can just move on now, we don't have anything else to do. Okay, so I forgot to mention one thing that the paintball park did for birthday parties. After you've finished with your regular paintball games, the birthday kid gets to step inside the chicken wire cage while everyone uses the remaining ammo to pelt them. The chicken wire makes it so the paintball can't properly fit through, and so they break, only letting the paint inside splatter people inside the cage. However, since I wasn't the only birthday boy there, I also had Tom for comfort support. And Steve for some reason. It wasn't his birthday as well, he just wanted to do it for some reason. Okay, all that's left is to put your head down and cover your crotch.
Stop.
So that was the entirety of a paintball battle. Even though Team Crusader lost every match and wasn't the person behind the trigger at the chicken fence, it didn't stop me from having a good time. It was probably some of the most fun I've had in my entire life. Although I'm not that old, so take it with a grain of salt. Also, if anyone at the party complains about there being too much of me in this video, it's from my point of view and you can make your own video about it. Although something I didn't like was the things that we got to take home. All the aches and bruises that we got. Nozza, I remember, had one scoring on his chest. Tom had a sore one on his leg. However, no one would have seen that one. Whereas mine was very visible and embarrassing. During the last round, I got shot in the back of the neck, and you might say, Flynn, why is that embarrassing? To that I say, you're not thinking about the implications.
Is that a hickey?